Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.
Hello, I'm Lori Steiner. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, what happens if you have a stroke? We'll help you face facts fast. Then, looking to sell your home sweet home? We have a to-do list before you list. We'll meet a woman who overcame challenges and now can smile again. Plus, can you defer your required minimum distributions? We'll investigate one option. And don't be late filing probate. It could erase your entire inheritance. We'll explain.
It's time to get GOing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. We're excited to be on site at the University Hospital's broadcast studio with our first segment for today. We're thrilled that UH has joined Golden Opportunities to share important health information every week, which means we'll be visiting this studio a lot. Today, Dr. Kathy Sila joins us to answer the question, what happens if I have a stroke? Dr. Sila is the director of the Comprehensive Stroke Center and Neurological Institute at University Hospitals. Welcome to the very first show with UH. I'm really excited.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
So how can we tell if we're having a stroke?
Well, most of the time you can tell. It's a classically weakness on one side of the body or numbness on one side of the body, difficulty speaking like slurred speech or losing the vision in one eye. But about 20% of the time, people may not have insight into their symptoms. They may have some sort of impairment of their awareness. And then it's really important for a coworker or a spouse or somebody who's a friend to recognize that something's going wrong.
Right, and right away do something about it. Any other symptoms that aren't so obvious, maybe?
Troubles with walking, like stumbling, a catch in the leg, difficulty seeing to one side, a confusion or lightheaded feeling, or a very severe, sudden, uncharacteristic headache, even in someone who's typically a headache sufferer.
Okay, so if you see anything going on, sense there's something wrong, call 911, correct?
That's what we tell people to do because every minute is important. You could lose up to 2 million brain cells a minute in the setting of a stroke. And so it's very important that you get to medical care right away.
Okay, so if we've already made the call to 911 and we're waiting now, what do we do until they get there?
I think the best advice is just to keep the person calm and comfortable. Get them down in a comfortable position. About 85% of strokes are blocked artery strokes, which means blood can't get to the brain. And so having them down with their head down is probably the best thing to do to get blood to flow up into the brain. Okay. But if they're having troubles with their saliva or swallowing, sometimes having their head propped up a little bit or turned to one side, and speak soothingly and calm. It can control their anxiety because when you're very anxious and your blood pressure spikes up, that could do some harm.
Okay, so once the emergency squad gets there, what happens next?
So the next thing is that the squad goes through protocols. They go through an assessment, they confirm whether they think this is a suspected stroke, and they get on the horn right away to let the hospital know that they have a potential stroke victim coming in. And then they very quickly get in the vehicle, lights and sirens, make it to the hospital. So the hospital now has pre-notification that somebody's coming in, so the staff are ready to receive the patient, to clear the CAT scanner, to get that brain imaging done, because that's the most important test to figure out whether this is a bleeding kind of a stroke or a blocked artery kind of a stroke.
So there's different treatments for different types?
Oh, very much so. So I mentioned before that about 85% of strokes are blocked artery strokes, and we have this important treatment, the TPA or clot buster medication. And this medicine needs to be given as soon as possible, but through most protocols within 4.5 hours of the onset of stroke symptoms.
Wow, so you really got to move fast there.
You sure do.
So what happens if we get there and nothing's going on? Everything's okay, actually?
Then we are thrilled. So about 80% of these very transient events are actually TIAs, and they're not associated with any brain damage. That's very important because it's a warning that something was going wrong, and we better figure out why the person had an almost stroke to prevent them from having a real one happen.
All right, this has been great information. With a stroke, early treatment is vital for the best recovery. So follow Dr. Sila's advice and call for medical help at the first sign that something doesn't seem right. My thanks to Dr. Sila for joining us today for the first of many segments from the University Hospital Broadcast Center.
For more information, call University Hospitals at 1-866-UH4CARE or log on to www.uhhospitals.org. Next, selling season. But first, Google, the internet search engine, got its name from the mathematical term Google. So what is a Google? You can go ahead and Google about Google, but we'll sum up the answer when we return.
Hilltop Village Apartments is retirement living at its best. Residents enjoy a wide variety of activities and living services with all large first-floor apartments, private screened-in patios with beautiful park views, daily dining room meals, free laundry facilities, 24-hour staff, and so much more. Enjoy safe, comfortable independence at a very affordable price. Call today for a tour and learn how you can get your first month's rent free. Hilltop Village Apartments, retirement living at its best.
A Google is the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. And it's a nod from the founders of Google to their quest of organizing an overwhelming amount of information to be available to anyone at any time.
Ready to make a move? The best home selling season is spring, and it's almost here, thank goodness. But before spring arrives, your home may need more than a spring cleaning to be ready. Kim Osbury is here with tips to get your home in tip-top shape. Kim is a professional stager and the owner of Staged and Styled. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Lori.
Why is spring the season to sell?
There are so many reasons. First, homes just look better in the spring. The snow is thawed, the flowers are blooming, and it just makes for a better presentation. With daylight savings time, there's more daylight to home shop. And for families, they want to finish the home buying process before the summer so they can move over the summer, get settled for the next school year. And plus, for those who get a tax return, they can also have a little money to go towards their down payment. The only downside of all of this is that it's true for all sellers. So you will face more competition in the spring. And that's why it's even more important to make sure your house stands out above the others in your neighborhood and in your price range. Today's buyer is addicted to HGTV. They have seen so many home makeovers and they want their new home to look just like the ones on TV, so their expectations are extremely high.
Okay, but you've got steps for us here today so that we can make sure we meet those expectations. So what's first?
Well, first step is to organize, which means sorting and packing. We all tend to accumulate things, and especially if you've lived in your home 25, 30 years, you're just going to have a lot of stuff. So now is the time to go through those rooms, go through your closets and your drawers, and just decide, what do I want to move to the new house? What can I sell, donate, or just throw away?
For those downsizing, and that's really difficult, do you have any ideas?
Yes, downsizing can be a very emotional process, and so you want to make sure you give yourself and your family member, especially if they're a senior, enough time, both physically and emotionally, to get through things. Family can be very empathetic during this time, so it's great to have some conversations, maybe about the new home. Get them excited about the amenities or maybe relationships they could make in the new home. And, you know, when the move does occur, set up the new home much like the last one that they lived in. That way, they feel more comfortable, it's more familiar, and then they can feel at home right away.
All right. So, but to get into that new home, you got to sell this home first. So the next step you have is refresh the interior. What does that mean?
So after the clutter is contained, it's time to clean the carpets, it's time to clean the windows. You want this house to look and feel fresh. This is also the time to make necessary repairs. We tell our sellers all the time a very simple rule. If it's broken, fix it. I know that sounds simple, but most buyers do not want to buy a property that has a lot of projects. So this is where your realtor and his or her stager can be a valuable asset to you, because they can help you determine and prioritize what updates and repairs that you need to make to get the most return on investment.
Okay, and we can't forget about the outside of the house, of course.
Very true. So the next assignment would be to focus on creating great curb appeal. So take a look at the outside of your house. If you see anything that's in disarray or that's damaged or broken, or if you see chipped or peeling paint, those things need to be addressed. Your landscaping needs to be trimmed, your beds need to be weeded, and it's also a great idea to add a fresh layer of mulch. You need to remember that the outside of your home is the first thing a buyer will see when they arrive for a showing. So you want to make sure that you're making a really great first impression.
All right, great tips for us here today, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you want to move out of your home, you need to make it look move-in ready for buyers. Follow Kim's tips to turn your for sale sign into a sold sign. Need more help? Give Kim a call. Her number's next.
To find out more, call Staged and Styled at 234-678-0836 or visit www.stagedandstyled.com. Next, a hard-won smile. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. Spring may not have sprung, but you can still get into gardening and more at the Great Big Home and Garden Show, going on now through February 12th at the IX Center. That's where you can dig into ideas and innovations in horticulture and home improvement. Need to nail down more details? Then call 440-248-5729 or visit www.greatbighomeandgarden.com.
Colleen DeVito has a wonderful reason to smile. She survived her fight with breast cancer. However, her teeth almost didn't survive her treatment. That's when she turned to dentist Steve Marsh for help. Colleen and Dr. Marsh are here today to tell you how they teamed up to restore her teeth. So welcome to both of you here today.
Thanks, Lori. Thank you. Thank you,
So Colleen, you say a dentist should really be on the team of
Yes.
experts dealing with cancer treatment. So
Yes.
why is that?
Well, typically, if you're going through cancer treatment, you think of your, oncologists, radiation oncologists, surgeons, but really your dentist should be part of your team during, before, during, and after treatment. It's very important.
So what happens to your teeth?
Well, I didn't realize this at the time. I had, you can't have any work done during treatment, so I had my 6-month checkup, and I didn't have any cavities. And then my 6-month checkup, 6 months into treatment, after having a very strict diet of no sugar, no carbohydrates, very
All the
clean
good stuff.
diet.
And what you should eat.
Yes, but it, it really helped me be strong through treatment. But 6 months in, then unfortunately I had to have 3 crowns. There was a significant amount of decay.
Wow, okay. So you tell people to brush and rinse and really take care of your teeth during
Yes.
treatment, correct?
Yes, as I counsel women and men going through treatment, I highly advise just rinsing in between meals to get rid of that bacteria. Even though you don't feel dehydrated, you still have a lack of saliva that could impact the teeth long term.
So Steve, when Colleen came to you, what did you find?
First of all, I was pleased to meet her. She's such a great spokesperson for what she's been through and very positive, which helps me and helps everybody else especially. So she mentioned dry mouth. That happens with chemo, it happens with radiation. The saliva glands sort of close down a little bit, and that makes you much more susceptible to decay because you don't have the cleansing of the saliva, you don't have the buffering. So when we saw Colleen, we took care of her immediate needs, which were these crowns because of decay. And then we also did some cosmetic work. What Colleen didn't tell you, in addition to everything else, was she had tetracycline stained teeth. Those are those very dark brown stained teeth when she was younger. She had had some dentistry done when she was younger. There's Colleen when she first came in. There's her after, but it took a lot of work to get from that before to the after. So what we did was in the front where she had porcelain veneers, and you can see what was done. And how long had those been on, Colleen?
About 16 years.
About 16 years, so they had worked very well for her. The shape wasn't exactly what she wanted, the color wasn't exactly what she wanted, and she mentioned this dry mouth and the decay, and around the edges, the margins of those veneers and crowns, was a lot of decay. And veneers, crowns can leak at the edges just like a window can. The glass never leaks, it's always around the outside. The other thing is you can see the angle of that. It wasn't a very pretty or aesthetic angle, and the backs of her teeth, what you're looking at is some of that stain from the previous tetracycline. So we covered more of the tooth, we got rid of the decay, built up that and gave her that beautiful arch form. So we restored function, we got rid of decay and got her on a period of health, and now she's on a Prevident, a strong fluoride toothpaste, whatever.
Okay, so Colleen, what do you think of the results?
Oh, I love my smile. I'm just thrilled with the outcome. The whole process end to end was wonderful. You know, Dr. Marsh and I talked about my goals at the beginning and throughout, and I'm just thrilled with the outcome. They're just much more feminine, softer, they feel better. I mean, I couldn't say, I'm just ecstatic, and his staff is wonderful.
Thank you. And I want to tell you, so she's also does a lot of work for breast cancer survivor. Can you just mention that and some programs real quickly for us?
Oh, sure. So 2 events coming up, and so there's 2 reasons why I wanted to finish this. One is, you know, coming up on the 5-year milestone of cancer survivorship and being cured, and so to get my smile back. We also have 2 important functions coming up, the Philip DeVito reverse raffle. Philip was one of my students at Lake Catholic, also my stepson, so we were reverse raffle Saturday, February 25th, and then the Saturday after that is a gala for Ears to You, and so Ears to You provides cancer survivors with hope, and they provided me with earrings and things during treatment, and so it's a wonderful local organization.
All right. Congratulations to you.
One inspiring person, right?
Absolutely,
really
yeah.
Thank you.
Colleen DeVito survived breast cancer, and now she's thriving in her life and her efforts to help others facing this challenging diagnosis. She faces each day with a smile she loves, thanks to dentist Steve Marsh. Want to love your smile? Give Steve a call. His number's next. And my thanks to both Colleen and Steve for joining us today.
Thank you.
See what Dr. Stephen Marsh can do for your smile by calling 440-461-1003 or visit www.clevelandsmiles.com. Next, inquiring about deferred income.
It's time to get up and go. An exercise segment on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, it's Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and we are here today to show you not only how to work your important shoulder muscles, but also the triceps in the back of the arm. Every woman wants to work that area. You ready to do it?
I was born ready.
All right, let's do it. We got our bands here. We're gonna start with the bands under our backside, because we wanna be seated on the band just to make sure they stay in place. What we're gonna do from here is we're gonna start with our hands at about a 45-degree angle and our palms just above our shoulders. We're simply gonna press that band up above the head, just about touch, and bring them back down to the starting position, okay? We're looking for 12 to 15 repetitions, slow and controlled movement, and also please do not rock back and forth and maintain that good posture. How you feeling, Lori?
Oh, taller already.
Taller already, all right,
taller,
yeah. That's good, you got some strong shoulders there, everybody. Okay, 12 to 15, make sure you're breathing, and now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 6105 Parkland Boulevard, Suite 140, Mayfield Heights, Ohio, 44124.
Here's a riddle. When are required minimum distributions not required? No, it's not a trick question, and we have just the person to solve this puzzle, Stephen Ashley. Stephen is a financial services professional with New York Life Insurance Company. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So RMDs are really just that, required minimum distributions. So how do you resolve this riddle I posed?
Well, first, you're right. RMDs are required minimum distributions, and that means that they offer for folks payouts that come from IRAs or retirement plans. And you have to take that when you become 70 and a half. Now, you put money in tax deferred, and it has to come out over time, over a period of time, as income, and that's taxed, unfortunately. Now, recently, though, we've had the Treasury has had new regulations, and those regulations provide another option.
Okay.
And that option helps to defer potential distributions down the line.
Okay. What's that called?
That is called a qualifying a longevity annuity contract.
Okay.
SHULAC
for short, right?
Exactly, exactly. And it allows you to defer part of your distributions over time, and hopefully will reduce some of your taxes.
Okay, so you get them later rather than now.
Exactly.
But I've already set up an IRA. Am I too late to make this change?
No. Well, in fact, QLAC uses the money from your IRA or your qualified plan to set up the IRA. Now, there are some requirements, and they include the fact that you have to take that distribution before 85 at the latest, all right? And also, there's a payout. There are two payout options. One is a choice of life only, and the other is life with cash refund.
Okay, so what's the difference?
So the difference is, when we talk about life only, that says that the annuitants will receive income for as long as they're alive. But once they pass, then that income has to be turned into, or will go away, and if there's any principal left, that goes to the insurance company.
Okay, so nobody else gets it, just your life.
Just your life.
Okay.
Now, the other option, which is a life with cash refund, again, the income goes to the annuitants while they're alive, and if they pass, that income, and there's principal still left, that will go to a named beneficiary. And so it doesn't go to the insurance company.
Well, that sounds like a good option.
You like that?
Is there a minimum amount you need in order to qualify for this QLAC?
Well, actually, the premium limit is $125,000. Now, it can't go any higher than that, but yours could go less than that, depending on your December 31st, 2016 balance.
Okay. So what is it if you have less than the required amount?
So as an example, if you had $500,000, or less than $500,000 at the end of December 31st, 2016, you would simply take that amount and multiply that by 25%, and that would be your amount.
Okay, so you've got an example for us too, right?
Yes, we do. So think about it. Think about it this way. So if you had, at the end of 2016, $300,000, and you took 25% from that, that would mean that your starting balance for your QLAC would be $75,000. But let's now look at the maximum. So if you had a balance of $800,000 and 25% was there, well, that comes to $200,000. Well, unfortunately, the maximum amount is $125,000, so you would start with $125,000.
All right. Well, I bet you're suggesting people talk to their retirement or financial specialist to make sure this is right for them, right?
Most indubitably.
All right. A QLAC, or a qualifying longevity annuity contract, could be the answer to your RMD riddle. But as Stephen said, you need to look at your entire retirement plan before saying this is the solution for you. If you need help, give Stephen a call. His number's next. My thanks to Stephen for spelling out this deferred income option.
Learn more by calling Stephen Ashley at the New York Life Insurance Company at 216-643-8313 or click to www.stephenoashley.com. Next, probate problems.
Right now, proton therapy, a revolutionary treatment for many types of cancer, is available for the first time in Ohio, and only at University Hospital's Seidman Cancer Center. That's the future of cancer care. That's UH Seidman Cancer Center. Right now, the trusted experts of University Hospital's Seidman Cancer Center and the most advanced cancer-fighting technologies are in 17 community locations. That's leading-edge care where you're most comfortable. That's UH Seidman Cancer Center.
Few people realize that if a family member passes away and you hold the will, there's an important deadline to meet. If you fail to file the will within a year of death, you could end up losing your inheritance. Here to discuss this quirk in Ohio probate law is my law partner, Michael Solomon.
Hello, Lori.
Welcome again to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
So for example, if you're holding one of your parents' wills and you don't file it with the probate court within a year, you could stand to lose everything you would have gotten?
Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but basically under Ohio law, if you have control of the will and then someone passes away and you haven't filed that will within a year, or if you've concealed it, and you don't have a reasonable cause for not filing it, you could potentially lose the inheritance.
Whew. Have there been a lot of cases that actually have fallen under this statute?
Only a handful. You know, it's really a question of proof. You have to show that someone has control of the will. They didn't file it within a year, and there was no good reason for them not to file the will. So it's a question of proof. But once you prove it, the remedy is drastic. They lose their entire inheritance. They can lose their inheritance. So Ohio, I think, is the only state that has a law like this, as far as I can tell. So Ohio just recently tinkered with the law a little bit. Used to be, if you violated that rule, not only did you lose your inheritance, but all of your children lost their chance to inherit. Now Ohio says only the bad person who violated the law loses their inheritance.
So how do we avoid this problem?
Well, it's kind of simple. Just file the will. So if you have the will, make sure within a year you file the will. If you don't want to have all that responsibility, maybe another family member will handle it. Or if you can't find anybody, you could always deposit the will with the probate court, and that should relieve you of that risk.
Okay, get you off the hook, huh?
Yes.
But what if it's the other side holding the will and they refuse to file the will?
Well, you know, I had a situation like that recently, actually. So, you know, first of all, make sure the year has passed. And once the year has passed, you know, you now have leverage. So if you're having a family dispute, you could say, look, you haven't filed this will in a year, you could lose your entire inheritance. Why don't we negotiate? I was able to use that. We were able to negotiate a fair deal for both sides.
Okay, well, that's always good when it works out fairly.
That's right.
What if there's a trust involved?
Now, Ohio trust law does not have a similar provision, so there is no rule like that. There are all sorts of obligations on the trustee to give notices to beneficiaries and accountants, and beneficiaries have all sorts of rights. So that's the way they protect themselves, and I'll cover that on another show.
All right, good information about probating wills in the state of Ohio. So if you're involved in a probate estate, you need to make sure you follow the rules, or you could end up losing an inheritance. For help, give Mike a call. The number's next.
Call Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information, or to schedule a speaker for your organization. Or log on to www.ssnplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, to stay healthy, don't hibernate. We'll share ways to keep moving this winter. Then, your wealth has a lot to do with your well-being. We'll uncover how investments can help avoid illnesses. In honor of Valentine's Day, we'll look at how to learn to love after loss. Plus, we'll introduce others' innovative ideas on how to improve our area. And, do you have an ethical will? We'll explain why it's important. But until then, please, remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.
If you'd like to join our kitchen conversation, visit our website, www.goldenopportunities.tv. Like us on Facebook. Call us at 440-742-GO-TV or email us at kitchen@goldenopportunities.tv. We'd love to hear from you.
Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.